Hi crafty friends. Let's have fun today with watercoloring. I'm inspired by this spread on page 118 in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog that shows all different ways you can use watercolor techniques on cards or on scrapbook pages. So I think this would really lend itself to a great card using the Charming Duck Pond set. So I made a card yesterday, not using watercolors, but using traditional things like the designer series paper for the background and the cutout. I've stamped the duck. I've colored in parts of the duck and the frog and the cattails using markers. So we're going to use the same design today, but mix it up using our inks for watercolors. So there are several different things you can use to get a watercolor look. I think one of the most fun ones is using these water painters. I couldn't actually find mine just now, so I'm going to improvise and use a paintbrush with some water. But these water painters hold water in the stem of the pen, and then you can use that to apply ink, and I'll show you how to do that today. And you don't need a cup of water with you, and you can change colors quite easily. There's also specialty watercolor paper that makes it all work a little better. You can use watercolor pencils and then color it in with the pencil and then blend it. There's little water spritzers you can buy, and you can stamp your image and then spritz it and get a watercolor technique. And there's also pastels you can buy. I haven't bought any of those yet, so we'll experiment with those in the future. And the pastels you can color with and then blend, or you can pick up color directly off them with a water brush and paint over your stamps. So that was my inspiration for today's card. Let's have some fun. I've cut, using the Charming Duck Pond dies, I've cut this overlay just out of white that we'll put on at the end. But what we want to start with is what will go behind that overlay. And I'm thinking just a water sunset kind of look that should work pretty well with watercolors. So I've picked 4 colors of ink here, and I'm going to start at the top with a yellow. And there's several ways you can get ink from your ink pads onto your paper. What I'm going to do is a technique I like where you just use your stamp pad on a stamp block and get some color on it. So I just stamped on it. And then you can take your paint brush or the water painter if you have that, and just go onto your stamp pad and pick up some of the color. So now you essentially have paint on your paintbrush. And I'm just going to wash this over because, again, I'm looking for kind of that sunset look. And I think I'm going to want to leave some of that white showing to kind of look like streaky clouds in the sky. But you could see what was then ink on an ink pad now looks like paint that I'm watercoloring with. And then I'm going to switch over to some orange. Again, just getting color onto my block. And of course, you can blend the colors as well. Picking that up onto my paintbrush and adding it onto the paper. I'll blend some in between the 2 colors here. Quite flexible. probably want to get a bit of a stark line here. To kind of make a sharper distinction between the water that I'm going to put on next and the sun setting sky above. You can come back in and fill in however you might want to there. All right, and then I'm going to just wipe off my block. You could use the chamois for this, or a paper towel as I have here. And then we'll go to our water. I'm going to just use two colors on the bottom. One is a aqua color. And then I think I'll just go ahead and put the other one, which is a little bit more blue color, right on my block. We'll get a lot down there. And then same thing, we'll use our paintbrush to pick some up. I'm going to start at the bottom here so that as I get to the top, maybe that orange is a little drier and I could get a little bit of a sharp line between the two colors. Now I'm blending the two blues for the middle here. Add a little bit more water. And so if you like to paint, this is a really fun way to color backgrounds, coloring your stamps. I do have a couple of the ducks cut out here, and we'll put color on them as well. So I think that gives quite a beautiful background for our duck card that we're doing here. And now I'm just coming back in with my paintbrush, having a lot of water on it, and blending it all just a bit more. Now you can also do this, you can also put down some of the color and then use those little water spritzers to put more water directly on the paper. But I like that look. We'll set this aside to dry for a little bit. And we'll go to a couple of the ducks. So one of the ducks has been cut out and stamped using Memento Tuxedo black ink, and the other one just uses a die from the same collection, the Charming Duck Pond collection, but doesn't have a stamp that goes with it. So it's got texture built right into it. You can see there. So now I'm going to use two colors on my ducks. One is peacock and one is a bright green. I'll just get those colors inked up on my block. And there's many different ways you can do this. This is a good example. Sometimes you can get ink into the cover of your ink pad and just use it directly from there. In fact, I think I'll do that with the green so you can see how that works. You can put it onto a block. You could actually dab your paintbrush or the water painter directly into your ink pad and do that. You can use re-inker and put a couple of drops somewhere in a paint well or on a block and pull it up that way. So you can see this is just pulling it off of the cover of the ink case itself. Get a nice amount of color this way. I have probably my brush a little drier than I was using it before. So you can get pretty nice control there. And then I'll switch over and we'll put some blue on. I love, actually, I have a lot of ducks outside, and I love the way these mallard ducks have these bright blue, shiny, I guess, feathers on their head. So try and get some of that color in there. Now you can see I kind of went around the edges because I want to make it a little bit lighter as it fills in the rest of his head. So if you see what I did there, I put dark color down around the edge, and then I just picked up some water and blended that in. And then we'll go down to his breast here, and I'll start off with a little bit more water. And to give some dimension, I'll do the same thing again. We'll just pull that color then into the center. I like these two colors together. It was just a guess, but they work pretty well. We'll do blue over here on his wing. I wish I knew all the little parts of a duck. I don't. And then I wasn't going to do it, but since I have the orange right here, we'll do his little bill and feet using this orange. And so this time, let's try just pulling it right off the ink pad and see how that works. Nice. Got just a good amount. So there's lots of ways to transfer the ink from the ink pad or from the refill, ink refill, onto your paper. So it's very versatile. Well worth investing in all the colors of inks so that you can pull out whatever you need when you want to do a little project like this. I'm just going to put orange there because I want that colored in like something. So there, he's adorable. So I think we'll use the similar colors on this one. We will go back to the green. And pull a lot of color there. I'm just going to do this one all over in green. And then I'll do his little separate wing piece in the blue color. Now, the females usually are not as vibrant, right? They're brown, more brown, but I like using as much color as we can on these kind of crafts. But the beautiful thing is you can cut out lots of these and have as many ducks as you want, and you can make your ducks whatever color you'd like. I'm also working on a scrapbook page right now for these ducks. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking that this technique with the background water painting might be really good to incorporate into the scrapbook page as well. And then we'll do his little wing with the blue that we put over here on the block. We'll make this one nice and dark so it really stands out. This duck is going to be floating in the water in my vision. We'll see how it all lines up, but that's the current plan. And so I want him to have a nice contrast against the water. So very easy to get a lot of color, make it dark, make it light, make it look watery, you know, whatever technique you're going for, just play with it a little bit. The more directly you get the ink, the darker it is, and then if you want it lighter or shaded, you can pull it with some water. All right, I just want to go back and get his little beak with the orange again. I really love how easy this is and what great colors we're getting. All right, so I'm done with the watercoloring part of this now. So let me put all of this away. And this is going to be a very quick and easy card to assemble. So we need to wipe off this block too before I get ink everywhere. And then I'll take this over to the sink and give it a good wash off. But those blocks are quite versatile for things like that as well. So let's see. So from this Charming Duck Pond stamp, I'm going to just use that little happy birthday sentiment there. Could use You Make Me Happy. I'll use Happy Birthday. Can always use happy birthday cards. So I have a little strip of paper. I'm going to do this. I think I'll do it in that nice blue color, peacock, since I have colors out. Just ink up the stamp, stamp it onto the paper. We'll clean that off later. And then I like to notch the ends of these so they look like a little banner. Really kind of dresses it up a bit. Now we are ready to assemble this. So I have just a regular card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, standard size. And then we're gonna layer the watercolor under this. So I just wanna kind of get an idea of the placement here. That's gonna look fantastic. So it looks like I go down about 3/4 of an inch from the top. Quickly put some tape on this. Putting some extra tape because the paper could get a little wrinkly with all the water in it. And normally you probably would let this dry a little bit longer. But we'll come down and we'll put it there. And then we're gonna tape this one over. That looks fantastic. I really like it. You could, if you wanted to, you could tape this down using dimensionals. I'm just gonna use some regular tape. Tape it on the edges there. Get that centered. I really like this, just leaving the white. But I do have one. Okay, so one little trick I've learned from this particular die that cuts this out. It cuts out this one little lily pad there as a separate piece. So I think that looks better kind of filled in. So I saved it. You might want to keep your eye out for that as you're using that die. I'm just going to put a little touch of glue on the back of that. Pop it back in the die cut. Now you can do some other things with the cattails and the lily pads you see on this card. I colored it in. I think that looks fine too. I like on this one, especially because we're doing kind of the sunset, I like this silhouette look. And now we're just gonna put the ducks in the water. I do think I want to use a couple of dimensionals. So this duck I'm gonna put down here. And then this duck we'll put there. So we'll put that guy in first. I'll use a little glue on him, because we want him floating like that, about in the center. And yeah, that green is standing out nice. Now his wing, let me see if I want to. Yeah, I think I just want to glue that one down flat. I'll have it going up in the air a little bit there. That looks great. And then this guy I think will pop up with some dimensionals. And these dimensionals or dimensional tape are a great way to add a little bit more texture and interest to the card. You can see I really love popping things up. I use a lot of these. And then we are almost done. So we just put the happy birthday on the top. I'm going to use some Terran tape for that. You can really interchange all of these different adhesives. You know, some work better for different purposes. I keep them all right next to my desk. Try and center that. And there you have it. A fabulous little card using the charming duck pond dies and stamps, using watercolor, using our inks as the colorant for that. In my case, I use just regular paintbrushes and water. And again, you could use that water paintbrush that you can buy online. You can color with pencils and then spritz with watercolor pencils and then spritz that to blend it. There's all different ways that you can get this watercolor look. I hope you have fun with this card. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope to see you again soon.